Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Lokeshwaran, currently doing a residency program in Department of Nuclear Medicine. For the past few days, I have been seeing various posts by the upcoming PG aspirants as well as who have applied for the counseling this year regarding which branch to choose, branch A versus branch B, and what are the job aspect after you finish this particular or that particular postgraduate branch. And there have also been few questions with regard to nuclear medicine, so I thought let me make a small video which would help the students who are willing to take up nuclear medicine. As you know, nuclear medicine is a branch of medicine which mainly deals with the use of ionizing radiation in both imaging as well as in the therapy part. Yes, we do imaging also. We have gamma cameras and PET CTs, and of course we have therapy part also. So how do we differ from radiology? How do we differ from radiation oncology? Is a question here. At first, I will be speaking about the differences between the Department of Nuclear Medicine and the Department of Radiology. In radiology, you see they have machines that produces X-ray. When you go switch on a button, it starts producing X-rays, and when you switch off that particular button, it stops the X-ray production. These X-rays are mainly used for the imaging purpose in radiology. In nuclear medicine, we mainly use a radioactive substance and the radiation coming out of it. These radiations may be in the form of gamma rays mainly, or in case of PET CT, it can be the positrons also, which can be detected by an external camera. This is the main difference between radiology and nuclear medicine. But radiology and nuclear medicine are like sister concerns. Well, you see, they mainly focus on imaging the anatomical changes, or I should say they mainly focus on imaging the anatomical part. We mainly try to keep our focus in imaging the physiological aspects. By this I mean that we try to explore what's exactly being happening at the cellular level, not at an anatomical or a macromolecular level. Usually the function of a cell is affected very much earlier before an anatomical defect can set in. So we try to trace the pathology occurring at the very early stage of a disease. Now, how do we differ from the radiation oncology? Radiation oncology has two wings. One is chemotherapy and the other one is the radiation therapy. In radiation therapy, they mainly use the sealed sources of radioactive material, whereas we use unsealed sources. In layman terms, sealed sources are those in which a radioactive substance is contained in a container. Usually this container is made up of titanium or any inert metals. These containers are not there to attenuate the ionizing radiation, but to prevent the dispersion of these radioactive materials into the surroundings or into the surrounding space. In nuclear medicine, we use the unsealed source. This is because we usually give these radioactive substances, either we inject it or we ask the patient to inhale it, or sometimes even orally ingest it to track a particular physiological process in the body and to see whether it has been affected or is there any deranged function of a particular organ by this way. Okay, I think with this I would have given a small differentiation between what nuclear medicine is, what radiation oncology is, and what radiology is. Now moving on to the nuclear medicine proper. As I said earlier, we use the radiation from a radioactive material to track a physiological process and to see whether it is deranged or not. For this purpose, we usually tag this radioisotope or radioactive material with a pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical is a substance which mimics another substance which undergoes a normal physiological process in the body. So in this way, this pharmaceutical also gets into the cycle or the biochemical cycle and undergoes a normal physiological function or a pathway. So when you tag this particular pharmaceutical with a radioisotope, the pharmaceutical drags the radioisotope along with it and it moves along a particular pathway. So this radiopharmaceutical can help us to better delineate what is normal from a what is abnormal thing, because the radioisotope emits radiation constantly, which can be imaged using a camera externally. This greatly helps in identifying the pathological process that's setting inside or which has already set inside the body. Well, nuclear medicine has various applications. Before that, I would like to tell you the branches in nuclear medicine. Broadly, we can classify it into two groups. One is the therapeutic part, the second one is the imaging part. In imaging, once again, you can classify into two groups. One is the gamma camera and the second one is the PET CT. The main workhorse that we use in gamma camera is an radioisotope or radionuclide known as technetium-99, and in PET CT there are various radioisotopes that's being used. One is F18, that is fluorine-18, or we even use nitrogen-13 here, and gallium-68, and so on. So with regard to imaging, I'll move from top to bottom, that is from head to toe. We can monitor how the brain perfusion is, we can detect the presence of a tumor. Then moving down, we can even do a dacroscintigraphy, which can detect the abnormalities or the normal passage of tears via the lacrimal gland. Then we do salivary scintigraphy. There is suspicion of salivary gland involvement in particular disease process. Then comes the thyroid scans. We do thyroid scintigraphy to look for Graves' disease or to differentiate it from an AFTN, that is autonomic functioning thyroid nodule, or sometimes even to detect a cold nodule. Then moving down, we have myocardial perfusion scintigraphy, radionuclide ventriculography for the heart. Then moving down, and even for the lungs, we have ventilation perfusion scans. Moving down for stomach, we have not for stomach, gastrointestinal tract, we have esophageal transit time, gastric emptying time, small bowel transit time. Then for liver, we have a few scans such as HIDA scan to see for the function of the hepatocytes, and so on. These are all the gamma camera scans that I was elaborating now. Same scan can also be done using PET CT. The main difference between these two is that the PET CT has a good resolution when compared to that of the gamma camera. And there are many scans for identifying various pathological processes in nuclear medicine. Moving on to the therapeutic aspect, the main workhorse of our department is iodine-131. This can be used for various diseases, the main one being thyroid anomalies and for thyroid cancers. It is the definitive treatment for patients with Graves' disease and for patients who have differentiated carcinomas, especially the papillary and follicular variants of thyroid cancer. They can be given iodine-131. But there are various criteria of when to give it, either prior to surgery, after surgery, or should we not give. There are many criteria that has to be seen before administering iodine-131 in cases of thyroid disorders and thyroid cancers. Next in the list of therapeutic pharmaceuticals is the lutetium-177. Lutetium-177 is used for the treatment of two cancers in our department. One is for the neuroendocrine carcinomas and the second one is the prostate carcinoma. In case of prostate carcinoma, we tag the lutetium-177 with PSMA. Next comes the role of therapeutic radiopharmaceutical in bone pain palliation. In our department, we use samarium-153 tagged to EDTMP mainly for the bone pain palliation. You know that when there is metastasis of cancer from its primary site to bone, and the patient will be experiencing an excruciating amount of pain in this process, and when there is extensive skeletal metastasis, the pain is just unimaginable. In those patients, this pain palliation therapy can greatly reduce the level of pain in the patients and can improve the quality of life in these patients. Well, these are few procedures that are done in our department. Other procedures include transarterial radioembolization, where you use yttrium 90 teraspheres, small cubical spheres or spherical spheres, which are introduced into the liver circulation in order to kill the liver tumors. Other thing is radiation synovectomy. Therapeutic radiopharmaceutical is also used for the treatment of lymphomas and leukemias, and also various type of skin cancers. I think I have now given a brief introduction of what nuclear medicine is, what are its branches, the imaging part, the therapeutic part, and I have mentioned some scans in the imaging side and few treatment we do in the therapeutic part. Now I'll be answering the most important question. What are the job prospects after finishing a PG in this particular branch? As of now, the Department of Nuclear Medicine is being set up in various medical colleges, and even in private sector, many new hospitals are bringing up the Department of Nuclear Medicine. And the demand for a nuclear medicine physician is high right now. And with regard to saturation, as of now, there is no saturation. So, of course, one can freely opt for this particular branch in post-graduation. And in near future there will be a tremendous advancement in this field, which can lead on to incorporation of various new technology, which can really help in serving the sick patients. I think I have answered to most of your questions, and I have given a brief introduction about what nuclear medicine is and its current status in India. If you have any other question, please post it in the comments below. I'll reply back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Sure.